the silence of the night they stand tall, messengers of light with no fear at all. With a whisper from the heavens they'll call, rise and declare, let the darkness fall.
The fire in my chest, it won't go out. Your name's on my lips, I've got to shout. Every breath I take, it screams your praise. Yahweh, Yahweh. You set my heart ablaze. I can't stop talking, it's burning inside. Your love consumes me, I cannot hide. Every word I speak, it points to you. Yahweh, Yahweh. You're the truth I pursue. The stars in the sky, they sing your name. The winds and the waves, they do the same. My voice joins in with creation's song. Yahweh, Yahweh. To you I belong. I can't stop talking, it's burning inside. Your love consumes me, I cannot hide. Every word I speak, it points to you. Yahweh, Yahweh. You're the truth I pursue. It's like a fire shot up in my bones, a holy flame that claims my soul. I won't try to hold back, 'cause it just won't stay. Yahweh, Yahweh. I'm compelled to say, I can't stop talking, it's burning inside. Your love consumes me, I cannot hide. Every word I speak, it points to you. Yahweh, Yahweh. Make my heart stay true.
Shalom, shalom, everyone. Teddy Wilson once again with Seekers of Yahweh Ministries, and welcome to another Friday Night Live, where we attempt to restore the Hebrew mind of Yahweh's people using the ancient Hebrew language, the Hebrew text, and Hebrew thought. And so much more as we see the days approaching. Oh my, the world has gone crazy, but thank Yahweh, he has given us a little bit of sanity in our relationship with him. Blessed be his name. This evening, we're going to be talking about the highway in Scripture that Yahweh has paved. We're talking about the highway. You see this term over and over. Sometimes this Hebrew word is also just translated as the way. So there may be a few different English and Greek words that this stems back from. But we're going to focus on one subject concerning the highway that the path leads to, because the path leads to the highway and the highway leads to the gates of Jerusalem, thus being proven by scripture, prophecy, the prophet's writings. So there is an underlying message concerning the highway. I absolutely didn't even know was there. I've seen the term or the words, the highway, but I never realized the underlying message that's there in the Hebrew language. You guys, it's a road that he paved. It's the highway of Yahweh. He paved it. And he opened the door of revelation in order that we could see it. And that door of revelation was his redemption, Yahshua. So this evening, get your pens and pencils ready, your paper, your highlighters. We'll be doing some Hebrew word studies, so get your books ready. Before we get started, get prayed in, I want to just bring everybody up to speed. Not this weekend, but the following weekend, I will be in Roachport at the assembly in Roachport. I will be bringing the word there for Shabbat, and we also have a headship meeting. Looks like we're going to have quite a few elders, deacons, ministers there, and we are going to be gathering in hopes of keeping everybody that does want to work together solidified in everybody's goals, perspectives, and we'll also more than likely be talking about this coming Evangelism USA effort, as well as the Unity Conference 2026. We are already putting that into the works, and we've already got several key speakers are going to be signed up on the list already to speak there at the Unity Conference, which will also, I'm pretty sure, is going to be scheduled in Roachport as well this year. So there's a little bit of background on what we got coming up, and amen. If anything we say here this evening sparks your interest, if you have anything that you would like to say about the teaching, or you need information concerning anything I may have just spoken about, there is our contact information at the bottom of your screen. And please join us on all of our social media. Sister Jamie running the Facebook group. And you can give me a call after Shabbat if you would like to speak as well. But we have a lot of exciting things happening. When the assemblies come together and work together, I spoke to Elder Graham this morning. He's even trying to see if he can fly out for this first elders meeting. That's they used to do this stuff over the phone. No, we need to be in the same room, present. Look each other in the eyes, share our feelings, share our perspectives, share our goals. And so these will not be anything that will be done by phone conversations. You must be there to participate. I think that's where we have, I don't want to say filled, but lacked whenever everybody's not in the same room. Accountability is the key. Communication is the key. And that's what we are attempting to set up with these headship meetings. So having said that, let's go ahead and get prayed in, and we'll get right to it this evening. Father, you are so good to us. The breath that you have given us, the shot at living eternal life once again, made possible in the body of Messiah. All of these things we are so unworthy of, but yet you have called us into your marvelous light once again. We're thankful. We thank you so much for the blood that was shed. We thank you for all of your marvelous works, because you have done it all. The Tanakh says that you alone have done all these things. And we are so very thankful that you have went to the lengths that you have went in order to redeem your creation. As we begin to study your word this evening, we ask that you would be present, that you would lead us and guide us. Stir up our minds and our hearts, Father. Forgive us of any sin we may have committed against your covenant. Touch us. Show us your kindness. Let your face shine upon us. We ask for your direction. We're trying to serve you, Father, and we just ask that you would bless us with divine wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that comes from you and what you have breathed through Moshe and the prophets and the holy apostles. Be with us this evening. Let every word spoken here be for the edification of the body of Messiah and for the purpose of your prayerfully soon coming kingdom. And we ask and pray this in the mighty name of your redemption, Yahshua. Hallelujah and amen, amen. All right. We had a wonderful Passover. So thankful for everybody that was here. Everybody made it home safely. And again, we're thankful for that. I think we had 51 people by the time it was all said and done, after the guest night and everything. So we sure do pray that Yahweh blesses Shavuot and Tabernacles as well. So this evening, once again, the highway. Not only the highway in Scripture, but we're going to see that it's the highway that Yahweh has paved. I mean, who knew that Yahweh was the one who'd lay the blueprint for the biggest highway ever known to mankind? We didn't know he was into asphalt. As it turns out, he's got warning signs, rules on the road. The highway has these indications, these signs. Without signs, there would be no rules, correct? The rules could not be backed up. The penalty for the rules of speeding, the penalty for the rules of do not use this off-ramp, the penalties for use your blinker, use your hazard light, all of these things could not be enforced had it not been for the signs that Yahweh put up along the highway. Very meticulous things that Yahweh has put along this highway. He doesn't want there to be any accidents on this highway. And if everybody follows the rules and the signs, this is where you turn off. This is where you don't turn off. Rough shoulder, he's meaning don't go down that path. And what do? Well, praise Yah. All right. So, the highway. The path leads us to a highway that enters into the gates of the city of the New Jerusalem. Let me say that again. The path that is spoken about in Scripture leads us to a highway that's spoken about by the prophets. The path in the New Testament, the way in the Brit Hadashah, leads us to a highway that is spoken about in the Tanakh by the prophets. And all of that culminates in guiding us securely to what we read about in the book of Revelation, the gates into the city, the new Jerusalem. And this is the route that Yahweh has mapped out for us. However, this is the road less traveled by many of us. And the reason why it's less traveled is because we see with our own eyes and our own thoughts and what may be good intentions, but are not the same intentions that Yahweh has for us. So again, that road is less traveled by many of us because we see shortcuts, side roads, and greener grass on the other side. Is there a penalty for choosing the shortcuts, side roads, and searching for greener grass? Absolutely. As we're going to see this evening, terrible, terrible consequences can stem from these things. Let's begin by turning to Psalms chapter 37. Tehillim chapter 37. And we're going to be reading verses 22 through 34. Psalms 37, verses 22 through 34. For his blessed ones inherit the earth, but those cursed by him are cut off. So, yeah, remember I was saying it's a road less traveled. So once you realize that you're not on the right path that leads to the highway, you can understand that those pearly gates, so to speak, are not within our grasp because we have veered from the way that Yahweh has paved for us. Oh, the trail may not be paved, but the highway that has been proposed by Yahweh himself and paved in the Tanakh is the way to the new Jerusalem and entering in through one of those 12 gates. The steps of a man are ordered by Yahweh. We're going to come back to this verse. And he delights in his way. Though he falls, he is not cast down, for Yahweh is supporting his hand. I have been young, and now I am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, or his seed begging for bread. All day long he is showing favor and lending, and his seed is for a blessing. Turn away from evil. Follow Yahweh's signs. Everything else is wickedness. Turn from evil and do good and dwell forever. For Yahweh loves right. So here's the signs that Yahweh has up on the highway, or right rulings. In other words, what I'm pointing out is something I have pointed out in the past, but here's another scriptural fact concerning if you are not, you can know about the right rulings. That's not what gets you into the first resurrection. What we're going to see is that all of this stuff, the path and the highway is what leads us to entering into the gates. And those signs along the way are the right rulings of Yahweh. So you can know about right ruling, mishpat, versus shaphat. But if you're not using them, and these are the signs on the highway, then you are going to get off on the wrong off ramp. And I guarantee you, you will not be selected to enter into the kingdom behind Yahshua through one of those gates. Remember, Yisrael can also be translated to rule with El, to rule with Yahweh. So this is why we are referred to as ambassadors, so on and so forth, in the Brit Hadashah. For Yahweh loves when you follow his signs. This is the sign that you're his people, is when you perform, use, know, understand, have the wisdom of how to operate your family, those around you, those who are in headship, the assemblies. If those right rulings are not being used in the assemblies, in your family, in your home, in your own life, then you are not following the signs on the highway, and the ultimate goal that you're trying to achieve cannot be achieved. For Yahweh loves right ruling in verse 28 and does not forsake his kind ones. They shall be guarded forever, but the seed of the wrongdoers is cut off. See, when you're in traffic on the highway, the wrongdoers that don't know the right rulings are going to cut you off. Huh? You're trying to make a lane change. You're trying to see the signs, but you can't see, you get cut off. See, this is where those types of things begin to occur when you don't know the right ruling. Because what are we supposed to do when we see drunk drivers on the interstate? 911. Get them removed, because if you don't, they're going to continue to do what? Cut people off, and it could cause an accident to where there are casualties. Do you understand? But the seed of the wrongdoers is cut off. The righteous shall inherit the earth and dwell in it forever. The mouth of the righteous speaks wisdom, and his tongue talks of the right rulings. See this? It's all wrapped around the right rulings. And when he talks about it, he speaks it because he has the knowledge of right rulings. If you are not rightly ruling the situations in your life, in your family, or in the assemblies, then we are not using the signs that keep us on the highway that lead to the gates into the New Jerusalem. It's just the fact of the matter. The Torah, the instruction, there's the instructions of Yahweh is in his heart. His steps do not slide. The wrong one is watching for the righteous and seeking to slay him. Anything to keep you off the path and hitting the highway. Yahweh does not leave him in his hand or let him be declared wrong when he is judged. Wait on Yahweh and guard his way, and he shall exalt you to inherit the earth. When the wrongdoers are cut off, you shall see it. I have seen the wrongdoer in great power and spreading himself like a native green tree. Somebody who cuts you off in turn causes you to cut off somebody else. That's what causes these pileups, if you will, on the highways and the interstates. Yahweh in his infinite wisdom has declared to us how to stay on the path, hit the highway, and make it to those gates that lead in to his kingdom. So let's look at verse 23 once again. The steps of a man are ordered by Yahweh, and he delights in his way. Let me go to the Hebrew text here. And then we'll go to the ancient Hebrew lexicon. Let's look at the word steps. Let's get everything ready for the screen share. There we go. All right. So here is Psalms chapter 37. And we're looking for verse 23 right here. The steps of, many of you are seeing the word good, but that's been added. Steps of a man are ordered. Look at this. Kun, meaning erected, set up, established, fixed, prepared, applied, appointed, rendered. And that leads to this terminology of being prosperous. You got a good driving record, remember? Okay, but let's look at the steps of a man. Steps is number 4703, mitzad. And in the Strongs, we don't get a whole lot of information on it by way of that definition. It says it comes from 6805, a step, figuratively, companionship. But we're looking at it here in the literal. Step, once again, mitzad. Now, let's get some more information and take this back to the ancient Hebrew lexicon. Oops. Here we go. Now, so in the ancient Hebrew lexicon, that's going to be number 2676H on page 427. Again, ancient Hebrew lexicon number 2676H on page 427. And that is the word you see right here in the bottom right-hand corner. Metzad. Mem, Zod, Ayin, Dalit. I'll come back to that, but let's look at the top of the root line here. The action root of the word means to march. So instead of driving, back in the days, they walked these broad roads that were made for traveling. Today we drive. But nevertheless, there were always roadside signs. And as we march on these highways, as we march up these paths, heading for the kingdom, this is what we see whenever we look at this English word, steps. The steps. Well, actually, marching means that you belong to an organization that is set up to defend a nation. You're in the army of Yahweh, if you will. And that's why the New Testament many times refers to us as being at war with the enemy and also being soldiers and priests and kings and these types of wording. But our word down here is being used in the masculine. Step, as in marching. Mem, Zod, Ayin, Dalit. There's a lot being said concerning who is marching in the right direction, whose steps are ordered by Yahweh. Only those, see, these steps and this marching pattern, if you will, are ordered by Yahweh because we are seeing the signs. We are doing what the signs tell us to do. The instructions, right? Because those instructions, Mem, Zod, Ayin, Dalit, those instructions are what cleanse, put us on the path, and give us knowledge of the door, the gate, if you will, because everything hinges on this. So the step that Yahweh directs comes by the instructions, as we just read in the passage, and we will inherit the earth, not the heavens, in the end. These signs, those who follow them, the only reason why they can march on that path or on that or down that highway is because of the cleansing before hitting the path. Now it's directly connected to our redemption. Can I say this? There are a lot of Old Testament passages that were directed to Israel about this highway, but they never got to travel it. Are you following me? Only those who have been cleansed by Yahweh's redemption can get on that path and gain knowledge of the doorway that enters to that highway and to the gates of the New Jerusalem. Bear with me, because I'm going to show you how these letters show us that Yahweh has already ordained for those who have been cleansed. And remember, the reason why we were cut off to begin with is because of wickedness, unrighteousness, and not following the right rulings to begin with. So then we got thrown out of the house. But he's given us an opportunity to be redeemed and be brought back into the house through the cleansing process that he has ordained. And then we can get back on the path, the Zod, and that path will give you rest, by the way, and it will lead you to knowledge concerning the door on how to get to the highway that leads to those 12 gates. Because those steps, that process, those steps are ordered by Yah. And only the righteous, the Tzaddik, can enter into that realm. The Mitzad will lead you to the highway to the coming kingdom in the land, and we shall inherit the whole earth, which is the domain that Adam and Hawa originally had in the very beginning. Let's go to Revelation chapter 22. Verses 14 through 16. Blessed are those doing his commands. There's the signs, the instructions, so that the authority shall be granted unto them to the tree of life, and to enter through the gates into the city. Just so you know, the English word for door in the New Testament, or the Greek word, can also be translated as gates. A gate. So with that information, let's go ahead and read this again. Blessed are those doing the commandments, so that the authority shall be theirs unto the tree of life, and to enter through the gate or the gates into the city. So the tree of life being involved here, this is taking us back to Eden. Because remember, right now, the tree of life is being guarded by messengers with flaming swords of fire, so that nobody can partake of that, because it will cause us to live eternally. If we eat of that fruit in our condemned nature, we would be eternally condemned. Oh, the infinite wisdom of our Creator. But see, so we know that this is at the end of the 1,000 years, and everybody who has followed the road signs, many of them will come in during the first resurrection of the dead, as we're going to see as we move into this study. Then those who were waiting on the knowledge of the path, they were on the path, but they never got the knowledge of the door that led to the highway. Oh, Father. They were waiting for it. They knew the highway was spoken of in prophecy, but they never got to travel it. Verse 15, but outside, meaning there's going to be people that don't make it. Outside are the dogs and those who enchant with drugs and those who whore and murderers and the idolaters and all who love and do falsehood. In verse 16, I, Yahshua, have sent my messenger to witness to you these things in the assemblies. I am the root and the offspring of David. That's one entity, by the way. The root, the one who brought forth and ordained David, and the one that came as an offspring from his genealogy. Of David, the bright and morning star. These words are true, without a doubt. Now, this narrow path leads to a highway to the kingdom and is laid out for us in the Tanakh. It's so important to know these prophecies, to know where you and I are at right now. Do you know many of you may have already gotten off the path and onto the highway? We need to understand where we are at in our surroundings, in our halak, our walk with HaMashiach, the Anointed One. It starts out as a path, but at some point you're on the highway, and I say that you waking up to the right rulings is when you go through the door that the path leads you to, and that door leads to a highway that leads to the gates into the kingdom. So let's go to Numbers. Let's start tracking down this highway. Numbers chapter 19, Bimidbar chapter 19. We're going to be reading verses 18 through 21. And in this passage, what we're going to see is that at times it will be others that keeps you off of this highway. Remember, those who are cut off. Whenever you cut somebody off, that person also is going to cut somebody off. It's a chain reaction. The potential is there for them to also cause or take part in somebody else being cut off, took the wrong exit on the highway. And this passage right here is going to show us that at times it will be other people that keep you off of the highway and put you back on the path. Well, I'm familiar with that path. I know it was all uphill, but I'm comfortable there. I know I was on the right path. But when are you going to hit the highway? When are you going to use the right rulings? When are you going to learn how we're supposed to run things in the body of Messiah, those who are being cleansed? Okay, great. But now what? Those who are on the highway that leads to those gates spoken about in the book of Revelation are those who know the signs, and the signs obviously are the right rulings according to Yahweh's word. Too many believers know about right ruling. Some of them don't even know in our faith what right ruling is, because in their English sacred name Bibles, the word judgment is used for both mishpat and shafat. They have no clue that there's a doctrine about Yahweh's instructions involving right rulings that we must implement in our lives, in the process of how we handle things in the assembly, in our own lives, in our own mind, in our own heart, and in our families, that says, yeah, you are ready to go through the door and hit the highway. Numbers 19:18 through 21. That's not the right passage. Let me see if I can find that. I wrote down the wrong passage here. Sorry about that, everybody. Actually, let me look this up real quick in my book. The Englishman's Hebrew Concordance of the Old Testament. This thing will show you everywhere that a word or a form of that word is used. And that was Hebrew number 45, 46. So let me look at this real quick. (45, 46). Numbers 20. Sorry about that, you guys. Numbers chapter 20, verses 18 through 21. Listen to this. So obviously, this is Yahweh leading people out on the path from Egypt. And then he was trying to take them to the highway that led to the gates into the kingdom. Follow me. Bimidbar chapter 20, verses 18 through 21. But Edom said to him, you do not pass over. Remember, because other people can stop you from traveling this road. But Edom said to him, you do not pass over through me, lest I come out against you with a sword. And the children of Israel said to him, we shall go by the highway. And if I or my livestook drink any of your water, then I shall pay for it. Let me only pass over on foot without a sword. But he said, you do not pass over. And Edom came out against them with many men and with a strong hand. So when Edom refused to let Yisrael pass over through his border, Yisrael turned away from the highway. They turned away from them. So we see this pattern of Yahweh leading his people out of captivity. He redeemed them. And then they come through the path, and through that path they get cleansed in the water and in the sea, it says in the book of 1 Corinthians. They were all baptized. Okay, so it's the same process. They came out on the path, cleansed, right? And then he's taking them to the highway after the cleansing. Those are the letters we just seen in this Hebrew word. Look how many English words it takes just to bring across what was said in the letters of that one ancient Hebrew word. So again, at times it's going to be other people that cut you off from getting on that highway or while you're on the highway. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 16. Proverbs chapter 16. Verses 16 and 17. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding? You see my point here? Everything that points to the highway has to do with gaining wisdom and understanding concerning what? The right rulings. The right rulings is what carries us along once we are cleansed. Those who are using and implementing, those who are implementing the right rulings are the ones who stay on the highway that make it to the gates. Remember what happened in the Exodus. Many of them, Joshua ben Nun, said, let's go in. He said, we can take them, and I believe we can take them. We need to go now. And Caleb said the same thing. And then everybody else wouldn't do it and spoke against it. And what happened to them? Those people kept Moshe. Well, let's say those people kept Caleb and their household and his household, as well as Joshua ben Nun and his household, from going on, catching a ride on the highway at that time. They got cut off by everybody else. You guys, please hear this message. Look at this. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding is preferable to silver? Verse 17, the highway of the straight is to turn away from evil. He who guards his life watches over his way. Remember, it said that Yahweh recognizes his way. When your ways line up with his ways, then you are going to stay on the highway. The path is a breaking point, a time of tutorship, if you will. I don't like to use the term schoolmaster, but when we are being schooled and taught, and the do's and the don'ts and the overcoming the failures and all of these things. But when we begin to get the wisdom and the understanding of how to implement the right rulings, then we're on the highway. And normally the only one that can ever get you off that highway will be someone that you give ear to, words, or your own decisions, not to learn and understand the right rulings on which we are supposed to govern our thoughts, our minds, our hearts, our family, and the assemblies. That will detour you off of the highway. He said, before you go chasing silver and gold, you better chase the right rulings. You better have a household where you can get away from the world. You better have a place where you can run away to with your family and be close to an assembly where you can get fed and you can rest and find peace, deep shalom, tranquility, everyone. The biggest peace of mind comes from you following the signals. All the signs that you see along this highway. That's how you reach your destination. If we are all wanting to go into the first resurrection of the dead behind Yahweh's redemption, then we better learn these right rulings from a Hebrew perspective, not an English perspective. Now let's go to the book of Isaiah. Let's continue with these things that the prophet spoke. We already heard, we've seen the analogy in the Torah. Now let's go into the prophets. We just heard a king speak about it. Let's turn to Yesaiah, chapter 11. Yesaiah chapter 11. We'll be reading verses 15 and 16. And Yahweh shall put under the ban the tongue of the sea of Egypt, and he shall wave his hand over the river with the might of his breath, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and shall cause men to tread it in sandals. Listen to this, taking us back to Egypt, where they first were cleansed, covered by the blood, water, hyssop, the whole 9 yards, going into the sea, symbolic of immersion. Taking us back there now because the disobedience, people not following the signs, using the right rulings, they couldn't get to the highway. Look at this in verse 16, and there shall be, talking about a future highway. You guys never made it there. You might have went into the land, but it wasn't eternally, and you were going to be caused to go back and start all over. You got to find the path, the door, and the highway again in the future. Verse 16, this is a prophecy of the future. Listen to this. And there shall be a highway. He's telling Israel, you're going to go back and start from the very beginning, from when I brought you out of the land of Egypt. You've got to be cleansed by the blood of Yahshua. You've got to be cleansed, baptized in the name of Yahshua, because the second resurrection is one into the flesh, and they must condemn sin in the flesh, just like every one of us has, to have the possibility of being in the first resurrection at the coming of Yahweh's redemption the second time. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people. Those left from Ashur, as it was for Israel in the day when he came up from the land of Egypt. Oh. Also in the book of Isaiah, chapter 40. The highway is everywhere, prophesied about. Look, here's the difference. Remember, I think we're going to be going to Jeremiah 31, but not concerning this passage. Remember when Yahweh talks about not the covenant that I made when I took them out of the land of Egypt and led them by the hand, brought them out of the land of Egypt, and I was a husband to them? Not like that. Because he led them all the way there. Well, guess what? Now the terms in this covenant are a two-way street. Everybody must do their part for us to find the path, the door, hit the highway, understand and implement the right rulings, the signs, in order to make it to those gates. There is no other way to do it. My emphasis here is on right rulings. Do you guys understand them? What are they? Because if you don't know what they are, then how can you be implementing them within yourself, within your family? Or how are the assemblies to run in the body of Yahshua, in the assemblies of Yahweh? There needs to be more emphasis on those studies. We need to have a better understanding and wisdom concerning those things. Knowledge of them is not wisdom. Understanding them is wisdom. Implementing them is a wise thing. Neglecting them is evil. Isaiah 40. Isaiah chapter 40, verses 1 through 3. And this is where we get a lot of information. Yahweh has prepared the highway himself to his kingdom. Yahweh himself has prepared the highway. Listen to this. He's given the command for the prophets and later on the holy apostles to point people to the door that led to that highway. You come through the path, immersion, cleansed, and it shouldn't be long if you understand what all of them understood, which was the Tanakh, before you make it to the highway. Again, chapter 40, the book of Isaiah, verses 1 through 3. Comfort my people, says your Eloah. Speak to the heart of Yerushalayim. Remember what we were reading in the book of Revelation, you guys. That's where the highway leads to, is the new Jerusalem. And there's 12 gates for the 12 tribes. The gates that go into the city of the new Jerusalem. Speak to the heart of Jerusalem and cry out to her that her hard service is completed, that her crookedness is pardoned, that she has received from the hand of Yahweh double for all of her sins, when all of the chastisement is over and your cleansing takes place. Verse 3, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare the way of Yahweh, make straight in the desert a highway for our mighty one. Yohanan the Immerser was crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of Yahweh in Messiah Yahshua. Yahweh was in that body. You better believe it. He walked among us, and he's going to do it again in that same body. That is Yahweh's redemption. His word manifested in a body that we can see is tangible. We asked for a king in the flesh, we got one. And all of the words that he spoke about right ruling are a package deal in those words that were manifested in the body. So the words need to be manifested in the body of Yahshua, in the assemblies of Yahweh, through the messengers, through the elders and the deacons and the ministers and the pastors. We are supposed to be introducing these things that keep us on the highway that lead us to the gates, the right rulings. We don't have the authority to judge any other way. And if you are using other ways, you have been diverted and you took the wrong exit. You're going to be stuck out there on a one-way road trying to find a way to get turned around out in the middle of the desert. Father, help us. Now let's go to Jeremiah chapter 31. And here we're going to be reading verses 20 through 26, and we're going to get to some Hebrew. Jeremiah chapter 31, verses 20 through 26. These words will cause all highway drifters, listen to me, the words in this passage will cause all highway drifters to rest easy, to find solace, to find deep shalom, tranquility. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach has said to us in Hadabarim, in the words of the book. Chapter 31, verses 20 through 26. Let me make sure we got that right. I don't want to get off on the wrong. Yeah, specifically in verse 21. Jeremiah 31, 20 through 26. Is Ephraim a precious son to me, a child of delights? For though I spoke against him, I still remembered him. That is why my affections were deeply moved for him. I have great compassion for him, declares Yahweh. This is him showing his kindness towards those that don't deserve it, allowing them after their chastisement to come back into the fold by means of cleansing, first correction, then cleansing, then shown the path, then the door that leads to the highway that will take them back to the kingdom. Look at this. In verse 21, Set up signposts. The same rules. Those right rulings are so critical for us to learn, and how and when to implement them in our homes, our minds, our hearts, and in the assemblies of Yahweh. It is critical to leading people to one of those gates into the kingdom. Set up signposts, make landmarks, set your heart towards the highway. What? The prophet said to set your hearts on getting back to the highway. Oh, Father. Set up signposts. Make landmarks. Set your heart towards the highway, the way in which you went. Turn back to Teshuvah. O maiden Israel, turn back to these cities of yours. Till when would you turn here and there, O backsliding daughter? For Yahweh has created what is new on earth. A woman encompasses a man. Wow. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the mighty one of Israel, let them once again say this word in the land of Judea and in its cities. When I turn back their captivity, Yahweh bless you. O home of the righteous, mountain of set apartness, and in Judea and all its cities, farmers and those who journey with flocks shall dwell together. For I shall fill the weary being, and I shall replenish every grieved being. At this, listen to this, it was a dream. It was a vision given to the prophet to relay to the people that you should set your eyes, your ears, your hearts on this dream as well. Why? Because it brings peace and you can rest in tranquility. Verse 26. At this I awoke and looked around, and my sleep was very sweet to me. Signposts, right rulings, highway, going back to the kingdom in this prophecy. And this dream, when he awoke, Yahweh was telling him to relay it, that our dreams must also be on achieving the knowledge and the wisdom of how to reach and stay on that highway. Our prayer should not be, oh, show me the highway. No, show me what I must do in order to stay on that highway that leads us into those gates that lead into the new Jerusalem. This word highway now, let's go ahead and conduct some word study. The word highway is Strong's Hebrew number in every instance that we just looked at. It's all the same word. It's Hebrew number 4546. I have a Word document put together here. I'll screen share it with you. There we go. All right. So Highway. Strong's Hebrew number 4546. There you see that it's the Hebrew word meselah. Meselah. And the Strong's defines it. And we're going to look at modern Hebrew perspective and ancient here. But listen to this. The Strong's defines it as a thoroughfare, as a turnpike, literally or figuratively, specifically a viaduct, a staircase. It comes from 5549, a primitive route to mound up, especially a turnpike, figuratively to exalt, reflexively to oppose, as by a dam. Now, think of the function of a dam, you guys. What does it do? It holds things back. It holds stuff back. A dam does. So, looking into the modern Hebrew definitions, we see the picture of the bride, the priesthood. Remember, that's who's going to be in the first resurrection. It's going to be the chosen ones to be part of the bride that comes through the Melchizedek priesthood. So with these modern Hebrew definitions, we see the picture of the bride, the priesthood, once again able to cross the border and come near her king. Thus, only by traveling the commanded paths that direct us to the highway paved by Yahweh himself. Listen to this. This is the only GPS signal our king has ever issued to guide us to the gates into the kingdom. There will not be another signal. This stuff came by way of GPS of Yahweh's words that came to us all the way from the Shemayim through the prophets and later on the holy apostles. Yahshua opened the door for our travel plans, everyone. Moving into the ancient Hebrew lexicon, Metzalah, we see ancient Hebrew lexicon number 1334M K1. You're going to find that on page 199. Look at this. Highway. A road constructed above the surrounding area. Oh my goodness. There's no need in explaining that. Look, it's a highway, a road constructed above the surrounding areas. Mem, Sin, Yod, Lamed, Hey. Metzalah. Looking at the words, we have the picture of water. Now, not finding this highway is going to give us the negative connotations of these letters. Let's cover that first. If we do not use the right rulings to stay on this highway and to govern our own lives and our own thoughts and our own family and from the headship, the assembly, you know what's going to happen? Chaos. Chaos. You will not be protected, right? Your works will not be like the shepherds, and you will not receive the revelation or the breath of life at the beginning of the 1,000-year millennial reign. However, if you are using the right rulings, if you have wisdom and knowledge of them and you're understanding them and you begin to implement them, this highway represents a specific group of people. Those who are cleansed, because the right rulings are a constant process of how you are cleansed and make things right, even though you may sin once in the body of Yahshua. So this highway is a place where the cleansed and protected are going to be traveling. And it's a highway that Yahweh exalted around all of these other areas where people travel. You got people going every which direction on this lower level of traveling, if you will. But only the ones who are following the right rulings find the highway, which is the road that is constructed above the surrounding areas of your life. Looking at these letters once again, Mem, Sin, Yod, Lamed, He, this highway is brought forth by what? Cleansing and protection by the work of the shepherd who gives breath and revelation. Yahshua said this in the Brit Hadashah in Matthew chapter 13 and verse 17. This is what he said. For truly I say to you that many prophets and righteous ones long to see this highway. Look at this. For truly, remember, because they came out cleansed by blood and water, Pesach lamb, blood applied, come out. They go through the water, under the sea, under the cloud, baptized. And then Yahweh brought them off that path and onto the highway that was heading for the kingdom. And along that way, there was somebody that would detour them. That detoured them. And then once Yahweh finally got them there, being on the highway, what do they? They refused to go into the gates. They refused to go in. So then Yahweh in prophecy through the prophets started speaking of bringing them back to this highway that he had paved. And this is what Yahshua says concerning that group of people that was looking for the highway but never had the opportunity to venture onto it. For truly I say to you that many prophets and righteous ones long to see what you see and did not see it, and to hear what you hear and did not hear it. Brethren, we should be so thankful. All of these people died looking for the opportunity to get back onto this highway that Yahweh had paved. They looked forward to being cleansed once again and protected by the works of their shepherd that gave them breath, gave them life, and it would bring them to the revelations. They sought this highway, but never had the chance to travel it yet. They haven't had the opportunity yet. They were waiting for it. And when they come up out of the dirt, you better bet they're going to flock to it by the droves. Blessed be the name of Yah. So, I do pray that this has clarified a few things and that it has shown the intensity on what Yahweh expects of us to know about right rulings. They're the signposts. He said, put them back up. I know you guys were off the road so much you knocked over most of the signs because you were off. You weren't keeping it between the lines there. So you knocked down all the signs and signals that I put, the landmarks that I had erected on this highway. but I want you to reestablish them, put them back up, because the rules haven't changed. And if you don't follow the right rulings, you'll never make it to the kingdom. And if you don't know the difference between judgment and right ruling, you already know that you're still merely stuck on the path, and you found the door. But when you look out there on that highway, that's a much broader place. So is this the wide as the gate? No, you're scared of it. But the highway is bigger than the path. But the broad way is a constant rebellion to Yahweh's right rulings that he had erected. That is a dangerous path to walk. For many are going to enter in through it, and in the end is going to be their demise. So, praise Yah. If you have any questions or comments and you are in the YouTube chat feed, please go ahead and reiterate there at the bottom. I'm going to be going there and saying hello to everybody here in a moment. If you would like to join us for a weekend of worship in Missouri next weekend, and you would like more details, go ahead and get a hold of us. There is our email address, phone number, and on our website there is a contact us form. Or if you're watching via Facebook, in the link there, you can just message us underneath one of the posts, and we'll be sure and get back to you. We do plan on being live for Sabbath tomorrow, Yahweh willing. Shabbat Shalom to Brother Daniel, Sister Mary. You guys should be receiving a package very soon. Charlie and Deanne, Shabbat Shalom to you guys. I'm going to be in Ohio pretty soon. And I'm praying that, is that close to where you guys are at in Illinois? Brother Don, Shabbat Shalom to you and your family out there in South Dakota. Sister Joni on property somewhere here. Sister Mary out there in Texas, going to be in Texas real soon. Praying that we can all get together there. We're going to be doing, I think, 8 baptisms in Texas. We're also going to be holding an evangelism 2026, and that is in Keene, Texas, something like that. If anybody knows where Brother Joe Derival is from, it's in the city he lives in, I'm pretty sure. Keene, something like that, Texas. Brother JR, good to see you tuned in. Shabbat Shalom. Miss Tapper, good to see you tuned in. I'm going to be in New Jersey doing a couple of baptisms there. So, Texas, Ohio, New Jersey. That's going to probably happen pretty quickly. Maybe one of them before Pentecost and the other 2 afterwards. We're also going to be in Montana with this evangelism thing soon with the group up there, Brother Walter, his wife, and the group there. Brother Gary, he's on property out back. Brother Rich, shalom to you out there in Arizona. Hot Iron Forge, good to see you tuned in. Shabbat shalom to Shuva Tells. Brother Ron on property. Shabbat shalom to you and the boys. The Melchizedek, I see you tuned in. Out there in San Diego. Shabbat shalom to you too. Anna Lee, I sent you some stuff through Sister Crystal. I pray that you get it. Sister Pamela out there in Michigan, good to see you. Shabbat shalom. Brother Eric, good to see you tuned in. Shabbat shalom to you and your family, your mom. Oh, levels above devils. Shabbat shalom to you. Miss you, my brother. Oh, there it is. Killeen, Texas. That's where we're going to be. And they've got a couple of very nice perspective parts. I've been already in contact with one of them. I've got to contact the other one, see which one's going to fit the bill. But both of them are within reasonable travel time for all of the people that's going to be getting immersed. And so that's it for this evening. May Yahweh bless and keep each and every one of you. Thank you for tuning in. We look forward to our live broadcast of our Sabbath service tomorrow. If you guys would like to be put on our email list and you're not on there already, also please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Help us out. Share these things. We would appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Shabbat shalom.